Hi everybody, Paul again. In this series of videos I'm going to be covering email marketing, why you might choose to do it and how you go about doing it. Email marketing is another form of content marketing where you are supplying useful, valuable information to your audience in exchange for their attention. And whilst you're supplying that information, you also have the opportunity to place before your audience products of yours or services of yours and hopefully do business with them. Once the information has been gathered from the opt-in form on your website, it's sent off to an autoresponder software. Autoresponders are softwares that are typically operated by major companies or fairly major companies on the internet who have thousands of customers, and they have the experience of operating autoresponders. It's generally better to use autoresponders rather than try to send out lots and lots of emails yourself. There are various reasons for that, but autoresponders are a good idea. Autoresponders are capable of sending out pre-scheduled emails, or you can send them out as and when you're ready to send them out, as and when you're ready to write them. Here are probably the best known handful of autoresponders. Each has its pros and cons. MailChimp, I don't know if it's still the case, but they used to offer a free autoresponder service for anybody with an email list of less than 2,000, and 2,000 for most small businesses is an achievement. So most people certainly don't begin with anything like 2,000 emails. The only two on this page that I've personally used is Aweber. When I last used them, they were $19 per month for up to 2,000 emails. GetResponse I'm using at the moment. They're charging me in UK pounds, and they're £12 a month, just to give you an idea. Constant Contact, I've heard good things about them recently. Infusionsoft is a higher end software. I think that it does lots of other management tasks for you, so it's probably a good deal more expensive than the others. Here's the thing that you really need to know and pay attention to. I visit lots of websites, for various reasons, and I see a lot of instances where people have got an opt-in form on their website, and it will say something on it like sign up for our monthly newsletter. That's never going to happen. Nobody is ever going to sign up for your monthly newsletter unless they are really interested in you or your product. The only way you ever get sign-ups is to give something of value away for free, and then you have this reciprocal arrangement. They give you and they trust you with their email address, and you give them the free product. So it might be an ebook, it might be access to learning videos, it might be access to listening to an interesting webinar. There are all sorts of things you can give away free electronically, but don't ever expect to get any emails unless you're giving something away free. Big mistake, big waste of time. So supply benefits in exchange for the email address. Usual rules apply when you're sending emails out to an email list. Try to be interesting is number one, pretty obvious. 2, be relevant to what the visitor signed up for. So if you've got a phishing website giving hints and tips on phishing, don't go and send people an email that's trying to sell mortgages, for instance. That would just be an abuse of your list, and it would rapidly earn you unsubscribes. Last point, and this really ties in with everything I've said already, make sure that everything you send out is beneficial. So, people want, if they've signed up with you, they want to learn from you normally. They want good content, and that's why it's called content marketing. The copywriting imperatives, as I call it. I am not an expert copywriter. Expert copywriters take years to become expert. And they very often earn a lot of money, apparently, and I'm not surprised because expert copywriters sell. I've read lots of books on copywriting, but I haven't been in the trenches. So because I've read the books, I know what the basics are and the most important things, and it always begins with writing great headlines. So that's whether you're writing an advertisement, whether you're writing information for a web page, whether you're writing a magazine or a newspaper article, you've always got to have a great headline. If you go on Google and do a search for something like great headlines or how to write great headlines or the 100 best headlines, you'll find websites that will give you for free formulas for writing headlines, and also lots of headlines that are known to work. Things that begin with the word free are known to work. How to, things that begin with that are known to work. Warning is another one. There's a list, or lists that you can use. So don't try and invent them yourself. Use known working headlines. The other thing that works, of course, in emails is anything that's intriguing or anything that's really funny might get your emails opened. Autoresponders, by the way, are capable of telling you what your open rate is. If you send out 2,000 emails, your autoresponder will give you a percentage open rate for your mailing. Second thing, now this is a difficult one to grasp really. Keep the language simple. If you've read books all your life and if you've done a lot of writing, then you've probably got a good sized vocabulary, and from school age onwards you're encouraged to write as impressively as you can. If you know big words, use them, but that's not the way of it with copywriting. Big words, like in my title there, the copywriting imperatives, not everybody's going to know what imperative means, and therefore it becomes an obstacle to reading for certain people. Copywriters typically work on a reading age of 10 years old. Now that doesn't mean to say that you treat your audience or your readership as if they're children. It just means you don't allow words to become an obstacle. So you could say that the idea is to dumb down your writing, and some people sort of react to that and can't bring themselves to do it, but you either want your stuff to be read or you don't. And in keeping with that, copywriters always work with short sentence and short paragraph formats. Sentences are usually single clause. For instance, my name is Paul, I live in Luton, and I develop websites is a 3-clause sentence. A copywriter would probably break that into 3 sentences, or certainly 2. And paragraphs, typically they'll use 1-sentence paragraphs a lot, 2-sentence. Not very often do they go beyond 3 sentences to a paragraph, and that is the way of the modern world as well. I mean, in magazines, newspapers, texts, websites, the smart people are keeping their paragraphs and sentences short. When you send out emails, don't run them to the full width of somebody's screen. The autoresponder softwares tend to encourage you to keep your line widths to a very narrow 3 or 4 inches on the screen. They'll prompt you to put a line return in to keep your copy narrow. If it's right across the screen, or if you've got long dense paragraphs, it's off-putting for a large number of readers, and that's the very last thing you want. Last thing on the subject of copywriting, I mean, there are volumes upon volumes of copywriting books, and I've kept this to 5 lines, but the last imperative is the call to action. Copywriters will never write anything without telling you what to do at the end of it. You can write great copy, you can supply herds of benefits in your copy, you can have the greatest product in the world, but if you don't tell people what to do about your product at the end and probably in the middle of your written piece, the chances are that they'll drift away and think about what you've told them and then forget what you've told them. Copywriters always want people to take action, and that's why you always see buy now at the bottom of an advertisement, or call right away, or only 5 left in stock, and things like that. And they'll tell you what to do in clear, concise statements that amount to commands. Call now, buy now, they're commands. And that's what you must always do whenever you send out an email. If you want somebody to take an action, then tell them explicitly what it is you want them to do. Respect your list. Never swap, trade or give away your list of emails. Apart from anything else, there are data protection issues if you do. But email lists cost money to build up, time and money. If you go giving away your email list willy-nilly, then you're giving away, valuable money in effect. Always use double opt-ins. What that means is when you opted into this email list, you got a follow-up email saying, please click on this link to confirm that you wanted to opt into this list. The reason you do that is to prevent accusations of spamming. Even when people do double opt-in, you'll still have a small percentage of people who will complain that you've spammed them because they forget they've opted in. It doesn't help to have double opt-ins because you'll lose opt-ins because of it. There'll be a percentage of people who will receive the email, and the moment has passed when they were interested in what you have to offer, and they won't bother to click on the link, or the email that you've sent them will go in their spam folder. So it's a double-edged sword, the double opt-in, but it's generally highly recommended. Make unsubscribing easy. I'm signed up to loads of things because, like most people, I want the good quality free information that people are prepared to give you. But there are one or two lists that I've signed up to where you really have to jump through hoops in order to unsubscribe. Generally, autoresponders do make it easy for people to unsubscribe. But again, one of the key things is what you're trying to do with an email list is build a relationship with your audience. You want them to see you as likable, helpful, and a go-to guy, and that goes down the drain somewhat if when the time comes you don't let them unsubscribe. Lastly, do not bombard your list with offers. Use at least a 4-to-1 ratio, meaning that when you have people on an email list, they've signed up because they want good information from you, but you of course want to advertise your services, and you may have offers, softwares and other products that you may want to sell them. Well, the softwares and other products have to be relevant to the list, and they have to be things that you know about and that you've tested, not any old crap that you find that you can offer people. It has to be quality stuff that you stand behind and recommend, and you haven't got to be hitting your list with that kind of offer on a daily or even weekly basis. You've typically got to send out at least 4 quality bits of content before making an offer, and for many people, it's probably more like 10 is a better ratio, 10-to-1. Very last thing I will say is, no matter how good you are, no matter how good your content is, people will always drift away very slowly, trickle away from your list, and there's all sorts of good reasons for that. You don't have to take it personally. If somebody has gone to a fishing site and they've signed up for hints and tips on fishing, well, the following month they may have given up on fishing and taken up stamp collecting instead. So people will leave your list, so for that reason you've always got to be looking to build it and add to it. And some people grow huge, very loyal lists of followers because they're offering such good information that that there are people that I am still subscribed to years after I first signed up. And that's what you have to try and do, but at the same time you have to know that some people will be leaving, and therefore you've always got to grow your list. So I hope that's a helpful introduction to email marketing. In later emails I'll show you how to create an opt-in form and place it onto your website, and then I'll cover other topics as well relevant to email marketing. Thank you for listening.